Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers! This is the Main Street Cinema. It's a humble little movie review show on the YouTube. It's not a big dog like a Jeremy Jahns or a Chris Stuckman. We don't get 100,000 views on each video we put out, but we stick by. You know, we like to talk about movies and talk about sequels, and every once in a while, we'll get a dragman. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers, and welcome to the Main Street Cinema, the show where we talk about the finer points of filmmaking. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
Yeah, and how do you like my terrible Jay Baruchel impression, BlueDragonFive?
I'd leave with the Jay Baruchel. That wasn't bad.
I'm Jay Baruchel. I'm going through puberty, even though my character is 19 years old.
Hey, be nice.
Never. Alright, so, in spite of the joking, we are here to talk about what is, quite frankly, a pretty awesome movie. We are here to talk about How to Train Your Dragon 2. Putting Tommy right back where he belongs, yeah.
Tiki, if I may I recap some up to this point?
Oh yeah, go for it.
So essentially, folks, in 2010 we get this awesome movie, How to Train Your Dragon, by Chris Sanders and Dean DuBois. And Bonnie Arnold, known producers of film directors and storymen on Lilo and Stitch from Disney, also initially on Bolt.
Yeah.
And essentially after things kind of went south on Bolt, the Chris Sanders and Dean DuBois, they moved over to DreamWorks to work on this.
Yeah, and I'm very glad they did, because, I mean, holy crap, this is just a really brilliant franchise that DuBois is kind of godfathered at this point.
Oh, yeah, and also Bonnie Arnold, best known for working on the original Toy Story, producer extraordinaire, really.
Oh,
she is underrated in that. She has a big
so
part of
what
why
do you
these
think of the
films are
original?
really good.
What do you think of the original How to Train Your Dragon?
I loved it.
Yeah, here's the thing with me in the original movie. Like, I thought the title was stupid. I didn't really get a lot out of the trailers. I thought the movie was poorly marketed from what I could remember. I didn't really see it in theaters, in spite of the big, like, oh my god, it's like the next Avatar. So when I finally saw it, it was on DVD, and I must say, BlueDragonFive, like, this is one of those movies that could have bothered the hell out of me, based on the fact that it's got a lot of, like, I'm a guy who doesn't really care for storylines that have kind of been done to death, and with How to Train Your Dragon, it's mostly just like, oh yeah, it's the pet story, and it's also kind of the wire revealed story, all wrapped into one. But darn it, they made it work, and they made it work damn well. I mean, to the point where it's like, I thought How to Train Your Dragon, the original, was just one of the most emotionally investing animated movies of the past 10 years or so. Like, it was really, really up there for me.
Oh yeah, a lot of really great stuff in that. I really like how DreamWorks, they really infused the emotion. They weren't just going for spectacle. They really drove in the heart. Like the relationships, particularly, obviously a boy and pet dragon, that's one thing, but also even just the interplay between our young Viking characters, again, the little subtle nuances between characters like Stoic and Gobbler, a wonderful voice cast, and again, father and son, all the subtle acting on the father and son dynamic was really, it was the crux of that film. Some people forget.
Oh yeah, easily.
Now, mixed with a wonderful visual spectacle and action, and it's the thing I loved most about that, probably, in addition to the emotional dynamics, would have to be kind of I love the progression of the flight. Seeing Hiccup, I like seeing creative characters and seeing how their mind works. Again, one of the best examples I can think of that would be Catch Me If You Can, seeing how the check forging advances throughout the film.
Right, yeah.
And you kind of get that with How to Train Your Dragon. You see how the flight advances, how it gets some bugs, and then kind of once they get the hang of it, it gets really fantastic, and the bond developing during the midst of all that. And that's something I really liked, and I love how this film continues that. But before we get there, let me get there in the history real quick. LeBron is the sequel. So we get an awesome first movie. Again, Chris Sanders, Dean DuBois, Lilo and Stitch fame. You can tell kind of the Stitch design element and Toothless, our main dragon.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of all the designs of the dragons in general are kind of various, like kind of remind me of the various experiments in the Lilo and Stitch franchise.
Oh yeah, Chris Sanders usually is responsible. Chris Sanders basically does the designs for those characters. Especially he mixed that along with a lot of some cat animation with
Oh, I can see that. Right, sure.
Particularly the eyes. The eyes for Toothless mainly inspired by cats. And I guess the faces. I think the face is more indirectly stitched. That's just his style.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, you got Dean DuBois is a wonderful story, man. Again, really shows his strength on that Lilo and Stitch. But they didn't just do Lilo and Stitch. They've been working since Mulan, too. Mulan also.
A great story.
Indeed. Those guys basically, I would best describe them as they were Pixar at Disney. They were kind of, these were Pixar generation guys at Disney. Not literally like, Pixar. But
kind of like their own version of Buster and Clements.
Yeah.
Just kind of like this really, really solid team.
Oh, yeah. I'd say they're Pixar caliber storymen that worked at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of went on their own now, and boy, it's paid off. I was surprised when I first found out that Chris Sanders and Dean DuBois worked on this film. I was saying, I watched the film, and I looked at the credits, or like the opening.
Right.
I just looked in the back of the thing. It said Dean DuBois and Chris Sanders. Like, there's something. Oh, those guys are good. Let's see how they did. And I think that's the main reason this film really hit home.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, so after we get this, all-star cast, really heartfelt tale, and after such success, it gets a TV series.
I've never watched any of the shows. Have you?
I have watched a few episodes. It's okay. It's DreamWorks. It was okay. It's when they strip out all the big budget for the animation, it gets a little down.
Exactly. I mean, that's what made me really hesitant to watch any of the shows.
Some of the voice actors turn like Jay Baruchel, but it's.
Oh, really? Baruchel's in it?
Yeah, Baruchel's in it.
Oh.
I'm saying overall it's okay. I'm just not as thrilled as I am in the movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, of course. You
got some cool bad guys. Like Mark Hamill plays a bad guy, which is really cool.
Ooh, okay, that makes me want to watch that episode now.
So, I mean, like it's not bad, but I guess it gets a little repetitive. But they do try on that show. You gotta give them that. So basically, that and Kung Fu Panda aren't bad DreamWorks shows. Monster is not so much.
Oh god, I forgot that even existed. I forgot the Monsters vs. Aliens movie existed, let alone the TV show.
But let me say this, it's not just that they did a TV series next. No, they plotted this. They saw how great success the first movie was, and they thought, okay, well, we're gonna make a few more of these. And I forget if their plans have changed. I'm not quite sure, but at one point they said there was going to be a How to Train Your Dragon ride, and I wonder if that's still in the works.
Oh God, I hope so. I have things to say about that.
To be honest with you, I've kind of thought that was going to be the thing in Universal, that the ride that is now Despicable Me. I thought that was going to be the How to Train Your Dragon ride, but
I think that instead of doing the Wizarding World of Harry Potter clone at Universal Hollywood, it'd be great if instead of doing Harry Potter, they did How to Train Your Dragon.
That would be impressive, and that's a subject for another time. But anyway.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Anyway, so basically, Jeffrey Katzenberg, of course, Jeffrey Katzenberg, love-hate with the guy, but that's not here nor there. Point is, he announces, well, of course we're going to do some more of these films. At the very least, we're going to do 3, because there's definitely a story to be told there. And luckily, that genuinely have some clout, because he got Dean DuBois working on it. While Chris Sanders, in the meantime, now we're getting to the sequel territory. They're working on the sequel. He's written the draft out. Chris Sanders is working on The Croods. It's a big passion project for him, which he's now doing a sequel to, by the way.
Okay. I still haven't seen that.
I'm not too crazy about it. I haven't seen the full thing myself, so I can't really make a fair judgment yet. Anyway, so basically Chris Sanders, he's off doing The Croods, directing The Croods, so he's relegated to executive producer purely, and he helped refine the characters. But I should mention, these two guys didn't just create the thing from scratch. It's based on a book series by, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Credicia Cowell. Or Coel.
Sounds like a really intriguing set of books, I must say. Although the DreamWorks films really deviate from it, I hear.
Yeah, they do deviate from it. I mean, from what I've researched a little bit about the books, I haven't read them myself, but they're still going.
Oh,
So
okay.
they've been popular, and I guess they were kind of declining in popularity. Then the movie comes out, and they
Well,
keep bringing
yeah,
out more of them.
sure.
But anyway, so this basically our core characters minus Astrid were created in the books, and
Oh,
took some different directions. Like Hiccup has a last name in the books that they just kept for the film, even though you don't hear it. Like I think his full name. This was actually the author's fake name on the book for a while. Hiccup Horrendous Haddock
okay,
the
okay.
third. So I forget how that works, but anyway, so that was like the pen name. That's also Hiccup's full name.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, she created the core books in that the main delineation everyone's gonna notice right off the bat, and they actually reference this in the first movie. Toothless's design was very different. He was remember the small dragon that demonstrates our whole like you breathe into the gaseous mouth and it explodes the dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That
right.
little demonstration dragon, that's originally what Toothless was. He was the little one that would fit into like a little tiny basket on your back.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So Toothless was a
Really good
smaller dragon.
definition. Uh-huh.
So they wanted to have him ride the dragon, so they made him bigger. So
Sure. And then they gave him a really cool backstory too. Like that's one of my favorite parts of the original was that whole night fury thing.
oh yeah. So anyway, so in real life, 4 years pass, and in those 4 years, we have this awesome film to talk about today.
Oh yeah. So
And
all
in the
right, you
film,
just
5 years have passed.
yeah, they pulled what hopefully The Incredibles is going to pull. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna see that at this point, but yeah, aging the characters, that's definitely the thing that I was personally the most enthusiastic about when it came to this movie. I always love when animated sequels do that. I think Toy Story is, of course, top-notch at doing that, but what do you think of this decision, Blue Dragon 5?
I think it was a very smart decision. Personally, again, advancing your characters, not something that always happens with animation. You know, having your characters age, or in comics or anything. Like Batman's been 30 for like 10 years.
Oh, God. Right.
Then he gets to age 40. He's 30, then he's 40, then he's 30 again, and right now he's 30.
Oh, no.
Dick Grayson was like the only one. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Point is, evolving your characters is really a smart move, and yeah, I thought it was a great reveal in that trailer. That first trailer we got was a brilliant marketing stunt because you get to see some great flying animation, which does make its way into the film. But then you get the big reveal at the end, the Hiccup taking off the helmet, and he's aged. So I think that just, to me at least, that signaled, oh boy, these guys are really have a plan for this film.
Yeah, and a plan moving forward as well. I mean, it's like, I think we're definitely going to see these characters, like, aged even further in the sequel to the point of probably being full-blown adults, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I hope Jay Baruchel sounds like he's not still going through puberty, just saying.
Be nice to that Baruchel kid, he's good.
No, I like Jay Baruchel, but, okay, so
Anyway, so the evolution was a great idea, and 5 years later is a brilliant notion. And it's kind of funny. It's 1 year later than they actually took to make the movie. So
yeah, right.
so we opened the film with some great dragon racing. Oh boy, that was a nice visual sequence there.
Okay, it was really good visually. I have one teeny little issue with it, and it's kind of a little bit of a nitpick.
What?
But I thought that the whole dragon racing concept, like what they were doing with it, especially like the stuff involving the sheep, was a little bit confusing. Like, why weren't they just racing the dragons? Why was this weird Quidditch element of it involved with the sheep?
Well, I guess it's that. Well, the dragons are going to get around, and it's better. It's a little better than racing. It's like you're racing around, and when you hit the tail on the thing, that just marks the lap.
I just think it would have been more straightforward if it would have just been racing and not like, oh, racing and collecting sheeps too.
Well, in all fairness, racing could get a little boring because just saying which dragon's going to get to the end. I mean,
I disagree. I think racing can be really exciting. Whereas if
well,
I'm trying to figure out the rules of something, I feel that kind of takes me out of it.
Well, no. What I mean is, it's just them flying around the thing over and over again. I think they're just trying to spice it up a little bit. Okay, they got a little bit of a keep away element to it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Anyway, it's just, basically, they are still racing. It's just also you're getting points for racing.
I guess my only point I'm trying to make is that it felt like they were trying to do Quidditch, and this franchise is so original and has so much going for it that I feel like I don't like to see them kind of like go into the well of something else.
Well, think of it this way too. Another kind of neat little subtle thing in here is that we're showing that our dragons are definitely not as predatory as they were last, because they're not eating these sheep or anything.
Oh yeah, and that's, I mean, yeah, this whole movie, I mean, it just shows the passage of time perhaps better than most sequels. I mean, this is seriously like a Toy Story 3 level of like, okay, these characters are evolved, this world's evolved, everything's evolved. It's really cool.
But in all fairness, in that first movie, they were basically just bringing the sheep to be eaten by their queen dragon. So.
Yeah, right.
But
right,
regardless,
right.
The point is, like, these guys, they're having fun with the sheep, so no one's getting hurt here, but it's still kind of. Overall, it's really visually.
Actually, I do like that element where it's like the sheep are being put in extreme peril, but not once do any of them get hurt, and it's like after all the action scenes, the sheep are just kind of like laying, lounging about. I thought that was a good bit of comedy.
Yeah, the sheep are funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but overall, it was a cool.
We have a penguin of Madagascar. Now we need the sheep of How to Train Your Dragons.
Yeah, everyone's saying that.
I know. I just totally ripped off a joke that Brad Jones did or something like that. I take no credit for that joke.
Yeah. What I like most is also you get a lot of, as you said, it shows that 5 years have passed. You get a lot of really cool information exposited in this scene. Really, genuinely. My favorite bit of information.
It's one of the things that I really enjoy about this How to Train Your Dragons franchise is the way that each film begins and opens with this narration by Hiccup.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something that really ties together all the movies incredibly well. There's my little brother giving him a high five. Yeah! It's something that ties together the franchises incredibly well. Some have complained that it's kind of just a bit of an expedition dump, but I disagree. I think it's a really cool way to be like, okay, here's where we are at the beginning of this movie, and then here's where we are at the end of this movie. So I really like those pieces of narration.
Well, no, that's not what I mean by exposition. I mean,
sorry.
like,
so
I mean, that's
like
fine.
stuff about Hiccup becoming chief and whatnot.
Yeah, what I mean is, like, don't be wrong. The Hiccup doing narration is a great kind of stamp for the film, just showing like how things are now and how things are at the end. There's still everything's copacetic and fun, but now we got something new added to it. That's fine. But what I mean is, what I was really impressed by was like how we're just a lot of really great information just being naturally integrated that we're being told as an audience. Like, first of all, we get to see where the whole relationship dynamic is between the twins and between all the Viking kids.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
However, I'm going to bring something up about that in one sec. My favorite bit of information exposited was the fact that I was caught off guard by this, and I love this.
Uh-huh.
I was so excited. Yeah, that's my future daughter-in-law. And I was like, oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, that was cool, indeed.
Yeah, we see Stokes, and he's got some gray in the beard, so years have passed, and characters are older, and they're doing fun stuff with the dragons, so that we welcome the dragons into the town. They got some great inventions, and also I love the little line about the fire care, how it's just like water set up all over the town to put out all fires.
Right.
But let's address this. I want to ask you a minor nitpick gripe thing, possibly, I want to bring up. How do you feel about kind of the weird love triangle thing they got going on with Fish Legs and Snotlog and
I actually
the girl
really
Rough
liked
Nut?
it. I really liked it. Yeah, it's
Remind me,
yeah.
okay, so the girl's Rough Nut, just making sure.
The girl's Rough Nut, the guy's Tough Nut, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I get.
I really like this. I mean...
And that makes sense for Snotlog's character. I'm just saying, Fish Legs, really? And the other guy flirted with Asher in the first one. It makes sense for him. I'm just wondering about Fish Legs. I just think they're kind of worried that they didn't have much to do with him in this movie, so they gave him something.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of probably a bit of an issue, but to me, I kind of took it as like in a group of friends when you're that age and there's one female, yeah, I mean, the males are going to kind of fight over their attention. I mean, I have been in that position before, so I found it to be quite a realistic kind of, portrait of kids at that age and how they act and, how they're,
I got that.
Hormones are hormones, BlueDragonFive. What are you going to do?
No, I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying I liked Fish Legs. It just kind of felt to me that they're kind of not giving Fish Legs a lot to do. Like, he had one cool bit later on where he's going through the cards, figuring out what type of dragon. I liked him as being the dragon. well, not as much a dragon expert as Hiccup, but being interested by the dragon lifestyle and stuff.
It seems like from the research I've been able to get into the books, it seems like in the books it's like
he is his friend in the books.
Hiccup is more street smart, and Fish Legs is more book smart.
Yeah, and we get that in the first movie pretty much. In the books, I think they're much closer friends, him and Fish Legs.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm just saying, like, I think the problems will be solved if just Fish Legs get some more cool stuff to do in the third movie. That's it. That's
okay.
Otherwise, it's fine. It's fine, I guess. Just I just wish Fish Legs. Well, it's minor nitpick, very minor nitpick.
Yeah. To tell you the truth, I really enjoyed the plot. I mean, especially when we get into the new character and Kristen Wiig,
son of Eret.
Yeah. And Kristen Wiig just gets absolutely just like obsessed over the muscles.
Hey, does Rough Nut? Oh, wait, Tough Nut. I'm sorry. Which one is which?
Rough Nut.
Rough Nut's a girl. Sorry. Okay, so does Rough Nut remind you of Jennifer Carpenter at all?
Jennifer Carpenter. Who's Jennifer Carpenter?
Okay, Dexter's sister.
Dexter's sister. Oh.
At all?
Maybe a little bit in terms of personality, I guess.
Well, I mean, kind of in the facial animation.
Oh, I don't know.
Minor things. But yeah, I'm saying like the relationship thing. It's fun, right? It doesn't feel like pointless or anything to you.
No, like I said, I really liked it. I thought it was kind of a good depiction of what kids that age do kind of often go through in terms of like fighting for the one, for the one female in the group's affection. Like I thought it was handled really well.
Right. Okay.
And my favorite line of the movie, by the way, comes when I'm sorry, what's the new character's name?
Eret, son of Eret.
Eret, yeah. She's like watching Eret, and he's just like, I think what he's doing is he's like steering a ship or something.
No, he's opening the cage.
Yeah, she's just like, oh yeah, you just keep doing what you're doing. I was like, oh my god.
That is funny. She's so man hungry.
Oh, I loved it. Well, I love the fact that she's man hungry, and yet the two guys who are actually fighting for her attraction, it's like she could just care less. Oh, it's a great
facial hair for you, and so did I.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Very puny mustaches.
That was like a really kind of a subtle gag.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So she has I want to point this out when I was in the theater. This always gets such a big laugh. This line of hers, when she gets captured later on, she basically says she's in slow motion mode and all love mode. She's saying, "Take me."
Oh.
Gets a huge laugh whenever I see the movie.
Yeah.
People go nuts for it.
Right. But, for good reason. Oh, Kristen Wiig, I mean, she's great. She really is. She kind of sold it. I really like how that character kind of got expanded upon. Because she was kind of one of the more minor characters in the first one.
Oh, yeah. Well, remember, actually, they kind of... I wonder if they got it just from this or not. I don't know how she's in the book, but maybe they got it from there. I don't know, but I remember... Something always stuck out to me about the first movie. I just kind of remember in my mind because there's a funny delivery on her part. Also, it was in the trailer. It was in the trailer. That's why. The bit where she kind of hits on Hiccup in the first movie.
Oh yeah.
Remember? She says, "You're crazy. I like that."
Oh yeah, right.
I remember the reason I remember that is because it's in the trailer, and it was stuck out to me like, "Oh, is this girl gonna hit on Hiccup in the movie?" And no, it doesn't happen, but it's just that one little bit right there.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I actually think that Tough Nut doesn't really get a lot to do.
He gets some funny one-liners. If I were to have a funny comparison, it's a stupid comparison, but he's like a really sober and PG Jason Mewes.
Oh god, I can totally see that. Oh my god, that's amazing.
It's like he's really just PG Jason Mewes. He's like, he has the funny line, he's there, and he's the one making the silly, it's usually dumb remark, but it's funny.
Right, yeah.
He's good comic relief, just much more family friendly. But, okay, let's get to two of my favorite characters here, but following our sequence here, let's talk about Hiccup. It's our introduction to Hiccup.
Awesome opening.
Oh yeah. So we get to see
quite possibly might be right up there with Blue Dragon 5. I'm dead serious when I say this. It might be right up there with something like Circle of Life or Bell in terms of like just a fucking amazing, kick-ass, awesome song to start out the movie with.
Circle. Well, in terms of song, you know, I gotta be honest with you, Tiki. In terms of song, I thought it was okay. You know, see, I was more interested. It might just because I was more enthralled with what was visually going on.
And again, it might be because I am actually familiar with the guy who wrote the song, so
that might be
could do it.
No, 'cause I thought the song it was okay, but didn't we hear this in the trailer?
Yeah, we did hear it in the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be wise. I guess it wasn't really. I was more focused on what we were seeing because it was just visually stunning.
I loved the song. I thought it fit in perfectly. I mean, there's moments in the song where it goes into the classical score, and it works really well. And
I love the score parts. That's the thing.
Oh yeah. I mean that, like, just all around the board. This is simply just a great score. Just a really, really fantastic score.
Well, anyway, visually, what's happening?
My little brother wants me to high five him, so excuse me while I do that. Keep talking.
Anyway, what's visually going on that I love about the sequence is, okay, we see Hiccup in his cool armor, and he's got the helmet on, which I'm gonna gush over that armor in just a minute because I love that armor. But we see him and Toothless flying. It's a really cool intro because a friend of mine was in the theater, and he loves Toothless. He loves the design of Toothless, loves everything about him. And he's saying,
right.
I asked him, like, what are you looking forward to most, buddy? And he says, oh, I can't wait to see Toothless. And I was building the reveal on that pretty good because I love just, first of all, you saw that they weren't at the little sheep games at the race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is a good build-up. Yeah,
it's a good build-up, and then you just kind of see him from the side. Then you get a good view of Toothless smiling, you know, with the upside-down smile, which is cool. And just that flying sequence and the we should talk about the animation overall for this film right now. The animation
is absolutely spectacular and
they upgraded the software and everything, so it's like it's kind of in terms like how Monsters Inc. used that global illumination software, but how it looks so much better in terms of animation. But in this one, they did something. It was sort of like it was like a jiggle animation. So you'll tell, like during the film when they do the muscle shots and everything, how like the jiggle is so detailed on the bodies.
Right. Yeah.
And overall for the film, I want to mention this. Just the thing that it's going to sound a little silly the way I'm describing it here, but the animation was so good, I could feel anytime a character would touch another character, I could feel that. It was
I hear
good.
You.
I could get the sensation of touch. I mean, like I can like hear the sounds and everything of them touching it. I genuinely believe in it. These are real people. You know, like it was that good. A great shot that just really showcases how great the animation is this wonderful shot where Hiccup, he uses the gliding. Oh, it's so cool that he can glide. He uses the gliding.
Oh, just awesome development of that character right there.
He uses the gliding in his armor, and there's this great shot of like he's gliding in front of Toothless, and like you see, then you have that music. The music in the song is like going like all, it's going kind of high and operatic, like and you get to see a great shot. It's a great shot of like you can see like the little wind of the light reflecting off of the wings of both of them, and it's a great shot. And then just a little detail. I love all the little details of what Toothless. It's science. They worked in some great science in this movie. So
Toothless is that was one of the most admirable things about Hiccup in the first movie too.
Oh yeah, like Toothless is firing a blast of fire, and the heat coming off of those blasts is lifting Hiccup into the air a little more.
Yeah, that's such a cool concept. That's like right out of Donkey Kong Country or something, I must say.
Yeah, a little right bit of physics there, and then they kind of bring it home with like I think this is a great payoff, by the way. How he's trying to get the landing right, and they reference the ending of the first film too. Sure, right. With how Toothless is now trained to like kind of maneuver in to save Hiccup if something goes wrong, and it's a nice little bit of continuity there for the first movie. And then there's the big reveal, like how he's gotten older now. Yay!
And yet he still sounds like he's going through puberty. Yay!
Okay, let me say this, okay, before we get more about Baruchel, okay?
I'm sorry. It was like the most distracting thing in the whole movie for me.
To be fair, Jay Baruchel, he's I think there's some very subtle nuances to the voice when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first movie, he's more of just kind of the awkward kid, which is understandable.
Yeah, sure.
And that fits with his vocal range perfectly. However, in this film, I think if you really listen, I've seen this film twice now.
Okay, well,
So
I've only seen it once, so.
You watch the movie and you hear him. You get a sense of he brings a sense of experience behind the voice. Like, yeah, he's still the same kid, but he's now more experienced behind the voice.
All right, I hear you.
So it's like later on, my favorite scene. When we get to my favorite scene, it really shows. But later on, he's gonna be really in control. So he's much more confident. I think he's just exuding confidence behind the voice. That makes it better for him. It might just be me, but I think that's what really.
I agree. He definitely is more confident. It's just honestly, it's probably just Jay Baruchel's natural voice, and it's just kind of hard to get past it. You know what I mean? I don't really think there's a lot the man can physically do.
Yeah, that's not a problem, though.
Not have this problem.
No, it doesn't bother me. It's the character. It's what we live with.
Yeah. All right.
That's how he sounds. That's how he sounds. Like, we don't hear Buzz Lightyear changing the voice every time.
Oh god. All right, we got about 45 minutes to wrap this up.
Oh,
so probably should
boy.
go.
Okay. So my favorite, one of my favorite parts of this entire film with Hiccup. And I love Hiccup as a character. Again, I told you I love how he's an inventor and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But with that, I love to death. It's funny, I just mentioned Buzz Lightyear. It's kind of a similar thing. I love Hiccup's armor so much. I like how he has like the wings kind of like Buzz Lightyear worked in there. I just love all this stuff is built into his armor. It's so strategically placed. I would love to get an action figure of this guy just to see how all of it's worked.
Oh, I'm sure one exists. I'm sure it is awesome.
Yeah. Just I love how first of all, you have the gliding wings in there. Kind of like Batman Beyond. You get the wings built in underneath there, and I love the thing on the spine, like the fin on the spine.
Sure, right.
That gets reeled in by the little thing it's built on. Everything has a purpose on his armor. And then my favorite, the little bit that just impressed me so much, he has paper built into the sleeve. He's got paper built into a little compartment on the sleeve. That's cool. He's got that, and he's got the pen, the knife to sharpen the pen, like in the first movie. It's like he's thought of everything. He has a little compass built into the arm. And, of course, his sword. His sword is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Hiccup just in general, he is just a terrific role model of a character, just totally inspirational, even for someone like me. It's like that's like part of the reason I liked the first one was that even though the plot was kind of a little bit, just a little bit stereotypical in some spots, it still had a really powerful message of just sticking out and just not going with everyone else, what I mean?
It's so funny. Like his father in that first movie was telling him, stop being you, and they were literally pointing to all of him. To quote the film.
Right.
You just point to all of me. I know. But in this, he fully embraces that, and you see him exuding all the confidence and really stretching his creative and inventive muscles with stuff like the armor and the different ways to fly. A whole bunch of stuff. He's gotten to be such a really cool character. It's like
let's talk about the map.
It's like how Superman and Superman 2. After you have everything established, then you get to really go on the adventure and advance our characters.
Sure.
It's like how it's like Superman 2 and The Dark Knight. Now we're really getting into the adventure now. And my favorite, getting to the next character, my second favorite character, I love Astrid.
Oh yeah. Their chemistry in the opening scene is just like Andrew Garfield and
Emma Stone
levels of adorable. Don't you think so?
I know. I was in love with it. I loved Astrid from the first movie, and I loved her even more in this. She's not in as much as the first one, but she's still great when she's on screen.
Yeah.
And I want there to be more done with her in the third, and I suspect that's where they're going, and I hope they do.
I hope so, yeah. She's a great character.
But Astrid was the hardest sell in that first movie in terms of like who Hiccup had to convince, along with his father.
Mm-hmm.
He convinced her first, and she was gonna be the toughest sell because she was like against it. She's bred to kill all the dragons, and then he swayed her first. And they get a genuine relationship. She didn't like him at all. Then she fell in love with him towards the end, and it was a great relationship. And here you get to see how much they truly care for each other. And then, as I mentioned, that opening, they mentioned that they're engaged. That rarely happens in animated.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
I love this relationship, and it's actually going places. Awesome. And it's great.
Of course, them like mocking each other.
I love
amazing.
I everyone, especially, I think I laughed the loudest in the theater when she impersonated Jay Baruchel. When she impersonated Hiccup, and then you're right. That's Garfield Stone chemistry right there between those two.
Right. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
exactly what I thought of.
It's just it's just like the romantic in me. I love the chemistry between those two. I want those two kids to have a happy end. That's nice. Those two together. And just even like the little, just like their dragons are playing in the background, like cats or like animals or dogs or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this movie where it's like you'll just have conversations going on, then it's like it's almost in a weird way kind of reminiscent of something you might see on Family Guy sometimes, where it's like there's a conversation and there's some crazy stuff going on in the background, but it's not played for laughs, it's just played for world building, you know?
Yeah, it's illogical logic. Yeah, they would play in the background. Yeah. And I like how it's a really realistic thing. I like they're gonna like knock them down because they're playing around the background. Because that's what would happen in real life. You know, the dog's gonna bother you whenever you're doing something.
Right.
It's just great. I'm in love with the chemistry between those two, and even like little bits like Toothless was like licking him and said, "Oh, that doesn't wash out," and then like she kisses him and she gets some of the slobber on her. It's like, ew. It's funny. And then I love the punctuation. I'm very impressed with this film with the pacing. The pacing and the sense of drama was an adventure. The drama and adventure was really great, and how just after the really romantic, not really romantic. The great chemistry. It was a really nice scene after that. Just the really quiet scene of like them real funny. You know, basically they're impersonating his father and impersonating him, and you know, basically she's saying, "Oh, congratulations, you're gonna make a great chief." I don't know if I'm ready for that sort of responsibility. After that. Then it's kind of punctuated with the, I'm looking at the future right now, and Mace says, what? And then he grabs her face. Oh, again, I can feel all the touching in this film. It's amazing. He grabs her face and like points her in the direction of the fire going off, the ways off. And it's that sense of drama, like, oh boy, and now the adventure begins. It's such a rapid-fire pace. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I think it's like with the first one, it's definitely kind of reminds you of like a superhero sequel, like a good superhero sequel, like something like Spider-Man 2, where it's like, okay, everything's established. We have, in fact, like, I actually think the title is a little bit kind of redundant because it's like, we've established How to Train Your Dragon now. We don't need, it's like, I don't know, but I digress. But,
anyway.
I mean, we've indeed established How to Train Dragons, and so it's like, it takes everything that you liked in the first one, just totally, literally builds on it. That's what I love. It's straight up literal world building, and I love that in my franchises.
So anyways,
like, hey, we have this cool, vast, open landscape, amazing creatures. Let's go explore it. I'm sorry.
So anyway, got also accentuated the adventure of it all, the John Powell score, which is fantastic in this film.
I can't say enough good things about that damn score. It's amazing. Go out and buy it.
Yeah, exactly. With that nice adventure music, we're off to an adventure where we see Eret, son of Eret, and the notion of dragon trappers.
I love this character, by the way. This character was basically like the Norrington of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise.
Oh yeah, so
from Pirates of the Caribbean.
I don't remember.
Come on. Whatever. It's fine.
Anyway, so yeah, the dragon trap is just an interesting notion of it makes, again, it's not so much a logical, it's genuine logic. So
yeah, it's like in this universe, sure, it's like you'd want to capture dragons. I mean, for multiple reasons.
I mean, not everyone's going to be a dragon rider. I mean, we don't know how far the thing's been branched off to. And
I mean, essentially, the land of Burke is basically turned into a dragon hippie commune.
I figured there's like 3 types of Viking. You got your dragon trappers, your dragon slayers, which were formerly our characters, now are dragon riders.
Right.
So yeah, that's great progression right there. Again, they're really building. I love this world. They built so much into this world now. We're getting notions like that.
It's fantastic world building. It really is. I can't say that enough.
Again, now we're really into the adventure, and they happen on the dragon trappers. There's a misunderstanding. So you broke in here. Like there's some vigilante going around and ruining our bases for trapping dragons and freeing our dragons. I got a quote to me, and I love how they build our bad guy here. They're building him up.
God, that guy's great.
They're building up Drago Bloodfist and basically saying, at least Scar, he branded me. And he said, next time there's not going to be anything left to brand, so I got to deliver these things. And basically then Hiccup awesomely pulls out his sword, with his flame sword, which I love how they explain later on how it works, which is even cooler.
Mhm.
He has a flame sword that also exposits the dragon gas.
Yeah.
Dragon gas that ignites the flame, which
Yeah,
is really fun. I love gadgets. I should mention that. The thing I love with Batman, I love gadgets, and I love that. I love every gadget we give with Hiccup.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Hiccup is, yeah, like you said, he's just a very resourceful, inventive character. So it's just a treasure trove in terms of that.
He is a lot like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man when you really think about it.
When you think about it, yeah.
Anyway, so let me think. Okay, so maybe we should talk about Gobbler and Stoic now.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Let's talk about Gobbler. He's great. Gobbler's a great mentor to Hiccup.
Okay, now there is an interesting thing about Gobbler that's been going on in the media. Have you heard about it? Yeah, we should talk. We should talk about that.
Okay, so you want me to say it, or you want to say it?
Yeah, if you want to say it, or do you want me to say it? I don't care.
Yeah, it's about the joke, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this gag. Craig Ferguson was doing the recording, and he improvs because he's a funny guy, and you gotta love Craig Ferguson, wonderful voice actor, wonderful, just funny guy all around. He made a joke, and he basically says, we see our married couple later on in the film. They're doing married couple things, and basically saying, that's why I never got married. Well, that one other reason. Now, when he said that, it got such a laugh, and the real reason, it's a funny line they lifted in there, but the implication is, and Dean DuBois confirmed this, I think it's just he's making it work, but he just said, let's leave it in there and see where it goes, because it's a risky thing. They did risky stuff in this movie, which is really all paid off.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So the implication being Gobbler saying, that's why I never married, well, that and one other reason. That one other reason implying that he's one of our first in computer animation.
No.
Okay, fine.
First would be Paranorman.
All right. Well, I never saw that.
Was Paranorman stop motion or?
I heard that.
I'm pretty sure Paranorman was like computer animation that was meant to look like stop motion.
Well, yeah, you're right about Paranorman. I'm just saying. Well, actually, you sure it wasn't? And there was a mix. Wasn't it a mix for Paranorman?
What do you mean?
I thought it was a mix of
stop motion and well, yeah, but regardless, with Paranorman, that is very much the first openly gay character. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, the point. Yeah, your point is that Gobbler.
And I think they do a lot more with Paranorman than they do with Gobbler, because with Gobbler it is just a throwaway line. However, when you think about Gobbler as a character, and you think about him throughout the course of the two films so far, it's like, yeah, it's like, to be homosexual in that crazy ass time with the Vikings. That's got to be a tough life. You know what I mean? That's got to be a lonely, isolating life.
Yeah.
So it makes the character of Gobbler just all the more sort of sympathetic and almost just sort of I don't know, just really what's the word I'm looking for? Just really just really stands out.
Yeah.
Just because in a way, Gobbler, he's just managed to, to forge this life for himself in this community, and it's, I don't know, man. I'm really, like, I know we're going to do a whole direct years talking about How to Train Your Dragon 3, but one of my big things right here is I'd really love to see Gobbler take over as Hiccup's parental figure.
Oh, I'm sure that's going to happen.
And then dive a little bit more into his homosexuality.
Well,
not to the point of like exploring his relationships or anything, but more to the point of like exploring how it's made him an outcast, how he can relate to Hiccup that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I don't think they're gonna do that.
I hope they do that, because I think if they did that, then that would be a step up from what we had in Paranorman, because with Paranorman, yeah, it was there, it was cool, it fit the character, but it was essentially a gag. I think it'd be really cool if they use this element of the character to actually drive forward the character development.
Well, I don't know. Let me say, the only thing I'm going to say on this really is that I don't think they're going to do anything with it, because I think it is just basically, it's a gag that Dean DuBois said, let's leave it in. And I don't think, it's because it feels like they didn't intend to do that with the character. I'm not saying they can't do anything with that. I'm just saying it feels like just it was like a funny. I think it just intended as a funny line. I don't think Dean DeWise generally or anyone put much thought into like what if we did this with the character. So I think might be a little jarring if they did do more stuff with that. But I'm not saying they can't.
Yeah, I hear you where it could be a little jarring if you missed it. But
yeah, I'm just saying I don't think they really had they put more thought into it earlier on, maybe, but I don't know. It just seems like it was a funny line. Remember, Craig first just improv, and he said, okay, let's keep it in. I think it was more just let's keep it in instead of let's explore it in the future.
Sure, okay. Well,
that's all. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying,
I still think that for just what's essentially a one-off joke, I think it adds a lot of dimension and kind of pathos to his character.
Yeah. Yeah, but, to be honest with you, I don't think anyone in my theater caught the joke. I had to explain it to a friend of mine, but I don't think anyone caught it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with you. Yeah, I think most of my theater was just like, oh, he doesn't like marriage. I don't think they really put two and two together.
To be honest with you, I don't think I would have gotten it had I not known about it earlier on. So,
right, yeah, sure.
To be honest. Anyway, so Gobbler, fun as always. You know, he got more hand gadgets to wear, which is awesome.
Cool. Oh, yeah.
And just, the idea, Gobbler's... and they've shown this in the short films before, and I guess in the TV show. Again, I haven't watched much of it, but he's integrated. He's had a big change in lifestyle. Now he's making stuff for the dragons and so forth. Like he's also doing teeth repair and such. Mm-hmm. I always loved the Gobbler character. I like how he is Hiccup's mentor in that first film because he works with him. I like the idea he's his apprentice for building things in the town.
Right.
And I like technically Gobber, like they don't really say, is it? I'm not saying maybe in the third movie we get something like this, but regardless, I think emotionally between those two characters, between Hiccup and Gobbler, there's definitely some respect there that the Gobbler definitely does have a soft spot for him because he's his best friend's kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably known him all his life. And now he's his apprentice, so I'm sure just with the grand scheme of things, he did teach him how to slay a dragon, to train a dragon. But the point is, he did educate him in the dragon ways for the starters, so he kind of gave him a jumping-off point to learn about dragons. And I would say the Gobbler is we wouldn't have How to Train Your Dragon without Gobbler teaching Hiccup the basics about dragons.
Yeah, good point, definitely.
So, I mean, I would say, like, there'd be a scene in my mind of, like, Hiccup saying, hey, listen, Gobbler, thank you for teaching me what I know, everything I know about dragons.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice thing, but also the mentorship in that he probably taught him how to build things, and again, that just equated to him befriending Toothless.
Right.
Yeah, it's just anyway, I love the dynamic between those two. Gobbler is real funny in this. You get to see the friendship between him and Stoic, and Stoic, as always. I like how they didn't fully change Stoic from the character he was before.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's still definitely got his reservations. I mean, he's definitely learned to accept what's going on more, but,
Like, he's a little thick-headed, but not much. It's more so he's just caught up in other things. Like in the first movie, it was completely like he's set in his ways. And the big, strong dynamic in the first movie is that he's a father who genuinely cares about his son, but he genuinely cares about his son, but he's just not sure of, like, what to do with his life. Because, not do with his life, just... He's unsure like how to handle his kid right now because his kid is so opposite of what he's used to.
Mm-hmm.
And that dynamic there, even though he does care, and there's that great scene in the first movie after he's so caught off guard by how his son has befriended the enemy, and he's taken it back. Remember that bit in the first movie where, like, after he leaves there after an angry speech, he's like he just can't believe what happened.
Oh yeah, I think that is like the moment that most people remember from that first movie.
Again, he's a loving father, but he's like every guy. He doesn't know what to do all the time. And at times, and they really show this in the Christmas special, how Stoic will get so jazzed up for something, yet he'll get so jazzed up for something he kind of blocks out everything else. And it's an earnestness about the guy. And like here, he's so happy, like, oh, my son's gonna be chief. I'm so happy. And he's like, it's such a loving thing. He's like, oh, I'm gonna show him how to be chief, and I'm going to say, Hiccup, here's what we do. We every customer's first, okay? It's fatherly bonding stuff, but then things get really serious when he finds out an enemy from his past is back to rear his ugly head. And Stoic, I like how they finally made the joke in this movie that Stoic, stop being so stoic, Stoic.
Yeah, I love that line.
They finally made that joke. Things get really grim, and that's the whole concept of Stoic he's now accepting of his son. He loves what his son has done through defying him and kind of teaching him a thing he didn't know. He's learning to embrace his son, embrace everything, and he sees his son as a competent leader. And he's kind of now he got some gray in the beard, maybe some gray in the mind too, in terms of, I'm going to be gone one day. And I want someone capable who can lead this place when I'm gone. I know that's my son, because I truly believe in him now. I mean, he's even crazy about Asher. He says, "Oh, that's my daughter-in-law. I'm so proud of her." You gotta love this guy.
Yeah,
he's like a far more father.
He's really likable for sure.
He's like a far more funny Odin.
Oh God, yeah.
Like far more fatherly Odin. Like Odin's always stern in the Thor movies, so here he's like happy and chipper. But then he gets really stoic as we get to my favorite scene as Hiccup and Asher they leave defiantly to handle things. Now Stowey's genuinely concerned. He's locking the place down for safety against Drago Bloodfist, who's a real dangerous guy. But then we get to my favorite scene in the whole film, where Hiccup and Astrid surrender. Oh, this is my favorite scene. I just love how Jay Baruchel performs this. He's so confident, in control, and he's thought this thing out. He's a smart guy.
Oh yeah.
Now, mind you, Hiccup's. I love Hiccup's arc in this. I kind of wish it was paid off a little better.
Sure.
But I like how Hiccup's whole thing is that, no, look, I can change his mind as I changed your mind. I like how Hiccup is this element of change. Like, he himself doesn't change, but he matures, but he doesn't change who he is.
I like the fact that a big part of Hiccup's character development is him realizing that he can't change everyone. You know what I mean?
Really?
And there's, he certainly can't change fucking Ego.
Oh yeah, sure.
You know, and the whole movie, that's like his goal is like going around and I've got to go and I can convince Drago because I convinced my father, and if I convince you, Dad, I can convince anyone, right?
It's funny it's funny when you impersonate Hiccup. I'm thinking of Astrid impersonating Hiccup.
Well, then I've done my job right.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I just like how he has that idealism that, hey, look, I can change it. And that's what Hiccup does. Hiccup has changed minds on the dragon. He's changed the way of life for 5 years now. And I like that. It's kind of something you get behind. It's an old, almost an old world sense of thinking in that it's it's real earnestness about him, like saying, "Oh, look, everyone's got some good in him. I can change this guy." And his father saying, "No, this guy's pure evil, psychotic evil. You can't get through to the guy." And I was kind of rooting for the whole film that I would hope that Hiccup could, in some way, change the bad guy's mind or get through to him somehow.
But again, I like the fact that doesn't happen because it is the growth for Hiccup, because Hiccup, now he realizes that even though he does have this great gift of being able to convince people of different ways of life, it's not going to work on everyone. He's not like this big messiah that he was kind of building himself up to be in his head. And I think, in a way, the whole movie is kind of all about kind of taking Hiccup down a peg in terms of what he thinks he's able to accomplish, while at the same time building him up to what his father wants him to be. If that made any sense.
No, I mean, yeah, you're right. I'm saying, regardless, at the end of the day, I'm fine with what they did with that. I'm just saying that it could have been another way to go, but yeah, that is pretty interesting regardless.
Okay.
The idea, you're right. The idea that he is kind of paying for his idealism in the end, which I kind of hope to kind of play with a little. When we get to direct ears, I have some ideas about how they can pay that off in direct ears, but we'll get to that someday.
Okay.
Anyway, so my favorite scene, I love when they surrender. It's just so it's so funny. Just him saying, "Oh, we surrender." Ashton's like left in the dark. Hiccup, what are we doing? So, "Oh yeah, can't have an armed prisoner. Oh, by the way, you don't. He's so in control situation. Yeah, you don't want to mistreat the dragons because they won't like that." He's got a plan. Still, I do genuinely believe that. At least when I first saw it, I was genuinely believing that he might have a shot at convincing our bag. He's doing a good job here. If our Viking team didn't swoop in and kidnap Hiccup, he would have changed Eric's mind on the spot.
Oh, yeah, sure.
First of all, Eric's throwing. It's so Looney Tunes. Like he gives him the flame sword, and basically he explains it, which is really smart. And then they're toying with it. He says, "Yeah, expose the noxious dragon gas, and when you ignite it, that will happen." And then basically Eric's like throwing the thing, and then Stormfly's bringing it back like a puppy.
Uh-huh.
It's so funny. And then our guys come in there. They swoop in, save Hiccup, and Rough Nuts sees Eric and says, "Oh my." She sees in slow motion. She does say that, and they do it in slow motion.
Oh,
she's man hungry over this guy.
I honestly thought that Rough Nut had the best comedy out of the whole movie. I really did. I thought she stole the show comedy-wise.
Yeah, she did. She did. Then what was great is I love how when Stoic and Gobbler come in, Stoic just comes and he says, "I'm Aaron, son of Aaron," and Stoic just shoves him to the side, and Gobbler takes him down. This thing off me, and then I'm sorry, I keep forgetting, it's Rough Nut, right?
Rough Nut, yeah.
Yeah, Rough Nut's like hitting on him while he's pinned on the ground, saying, "Hey, come here often." Then she like kisses her hand and he puts it to his face as he tries to avoid it. Anyway, so then we get a big dramatic flashback, which is awesome.
Oh.
Which, by the way, just overall with the whole surrender scene, just kind of undercurrent of our film here. I like how it's just with Eric and Hiccup talking, you get a sense of what the film's about. This old view versus the new view. The old view of these dragons are monsters, and we got to control these monsters or kill them. And Hiccup saying there is another way. Look, guys, we can ride dragons. These guys are glorious creatures. We got to respect these guys. And like how Eric's kind of our character who experiences change. So if we don't change our big bad guy, at least we change Eric. So seeing at least it's possible for some people.
All right, fair enough. But it's not possible for other people, especially
certainly.
Especially when you keep telling the kid over and over again, like, no, you can't reason with him. He's a freaking bloodthirsty warlord.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get this great flashback scene where it's a really tragic scene where all the Vikings of the past die because Drago Bloodfist, who I love how they build the reveal to that guy too, by the way.
Oh, they really do. Yeah, they really milk it.
And Gerard Butler's the master of speech, is saying, "Oh, he went through there and he's draped in a dragon's pelt."
Mm-hmm.
They had like a dragon cloak that was from the skin of a dragon, which pays off later on in an awesome way.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, however, the thing that bothers me is that he sells him a little better than he is later on. He says that he spoke very softly. He says,
yeah, that's definitely something that our villain does not do.
Now let's just say Drago's a loud, intimidating guy.
That's to say the least.
I'm not saying that that's bad or anything. I'm just saying the way they sold him in the beginning. Wouldn't it have been cooler, Tiki? Wouldn't it have been cooler if he had been like this really soft-spoken guy, but when he did the dragon call, then he got really loud?
Yeah, I think that would be really badass. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would have. That's what I was expecting, kind of hoping for, but we didn't get that. But it's fine. But I like how in the flashback he is kept that way though. He's like real silent until he leaves and he shouts something like, "And you all die."
Right. All right. Well, we really kind of need to wrap this up. So we.
Okay, we gotta.
Let's get to the mother.
Okay, let's get to Mommy Dearest. Okay, so Hiccup's mom, Valka, very interesting character, played like a vigilante at the beginning. Really
awesome animation. Like I loved. First of all, I love her costume with that paper mache mask and everything. Just so badass.
It's really
cool. When you first meet her and she's just like, and she's like moving around like a dragon. I like how it's like throughout the whole film. It kind of feels like she's kind of gradually losing that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. The idea that... Sorry. Well, the idea, first of all, that she's kind of like a superhero in this world because she's like a vigilante going around freeing dragons. That's cool.
Essentially, yeah.
and then secondly, the thing is really great in the sequence where Hiccup meets her when basically he's brought to the room full of dragons and basically uses all the tricks he knows. It's really smart on Hiccup's part, by the way. I love that sequence. Mm-hmm. Him using the sword to kind of show that he's one with the dragons, these strange dragons, so I'm friendly to you guys. And basically swaying the mother who, by the way, best thing about her animation, she's been away from humans for so long, for 20 years.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, and that she moves like a dragon, essentially.
Right, and it's almost creepy to tell you the truth.
It is. And then when she sees a little scar on Hiccup's chin, and then she kind of realizes her humanity for a bit, and she's still getting used to it.
Oh God, such an emotional moment. Oh, that had me. That had me.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett does a wonderful job voicing Valka.
Awesome voice actress. Yeah, awesome voice acting. For sure.
You get a really good mother-son dynamic of the main question being like, why hasn't she come back after all this time? And she's generally defeated in the war in her mind that I can sway people, I can change people, but she's convinced herself she can't.
Which is kind of the opposite of Hiccup.
Yeah, there's a little parallel there, you know. Yeah, Hiccup's convinced that he can change people. She not so much, and Stoic is just he's the reluctant change.
Right.
Yeah. So you get a really nice little dynamic between those three. You get a really great interrogation. Astrid interrogating interrogating our new guy, Eric. Anyway, again, I love Astrid so much, and the way she's okay, drop him, Stormfly. You don't take a toy away from a dragon. A lot of great stuff. Then we get this great scene of the family reunite because Stoic and Gobbler, they're worried as they're traveling. They see because
might I just say, just really quick, I love the line. Hiccup's like, so you're saying that my mom is a vigilante dragon rider, and then Kate Blanchett's just like, well, at least I'm not boring.
Oh, that's cool.
I like how Kate Blanchett kind of has an Irish accent. It really fits.
Oh, by the way, funny little gag from the first movie. They didn't really think this out, but it's a funny thing in the grand scheme of things. In the first movie, remember the breastplate gag?
Kind of.
Okay, in the first gag, he bestows a gift upon his son of his mother's.
Oh yeah, right.
Of the helmet made from his mother's breastplate. And the gag is that Stoic has the same one. So Stoic's helmet and Hiccup's helmet are different sizes. You get it?
Yeah, right. Oh God, yeah.
We see in this film that's not the case, but
right.
At least seemingly not. It's just a funny thing in the grand scheme of things. That was the gag in the first movie. It's just.
Well, we don't know that reconstructive surgery doesn't exist in this universe.
We know it doesn't exist in this universe. What are you talking about? I think in their mind they intended her to look a little more like Stoic.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Change their minds on this. Is rightly so. I love her design in this movie.
I do too. I mean, I wish we would have seen her a little bit more in her main costume, just because I thought it was awesome, and it was just straight up, like you said, like something out of a superhero movie or something.
So anyway, in her 20 years away from Hiccup, she's retreated into this dragon Shangri-La, and the circumstances of her travel were that way back in the day, she's convincing people dragons are good, don't slay them, and a lot of chaos happening in Burke, which did happen a lot, as we saw in the first movie. A lot of chaos breaking out, and baby Hiccup's threatened by a dragon, seemingly, and no, it's just the dragon's looking at the cute baby, and then a little accident happens, like scrapes the baby, giving the scar henceforth, and then basically saying, this dragon isn't bad, it's looking at my soul, it's a really nice thing.
Yeah.
Then, a misunderstanding happens. The thing freaks out, takes her away. Not to hurt her, just to take her away because she's a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
Then, that dramatically scars Stoic for years.
Oh man.
But
I mean, this movie has some really, really dark stuff going on, man. Like, I'd say it's safe to say that with this franchise, the era of ballsy kids movies is kind of back.
Oh yeah.
So happy to say that, man, because for the longest time we just be getting these super safe, okay, pop culture references and comedy or
Oh yeah.
But now it's oh yeah, okay, go.
Sorry, we're on a time thing here.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, so after basically we're at the Dragon Shangri-La, we get introduced to the notion, another really smart notion, by the way, the Alpha Dragon.
Oh, I love this. Oh, yeah.
The Alpha Dragon, which can shoot ice, it's called a Bewilderbeast.
Mm-hmm. Great name.
Wonderful thing, the idea that all these dragons respected. And there's kind of a plot hole, but we're going to get into that in a minute. But the point is, giant, huge dragon, all the dragons respect it. Even Toothless, a stranger to this land, respects this dragon.
Uh-huh.
Because it protects them. That's the thing. Except for the babies. The babies don't listen to it, which gets paid off later.
It's paid off brilliantly.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So basically, see, this dragon takes care of him, and the mother's kind of the emissary between the dragons and so forth. They go there for feeding. She takes them for feeding time. She's learned a lot of tricks in her time. We get to see wonderful dragon designs, especially her dragon, the one that scraped Hiccup as a baby. That thing is like 4 wings. It's an owl design, really cool looking.
The whole thing, it's basically like creature design porn. Because it's just so many cool creatures. Like, it's crazy. Oh my god, I love this section of the movie.
She says she'll teach Hiccup all the tricks she knows, and she does like one trick on Toothless, basically allows him to be more dynamic with his turn, so he can turn on and off.
Oh, that was really cool.
It was. Yeah, basically, she's a great character. You get to see a wonderful dynamic between us. But then he mentions Drago, but then we're distracted by they're stoic, and those two meet, and then it's a wonderfully in the grand scheme of things, heartbreaking sequence, but it's so lovely. First of all, the comedy of Hiccup saying, "Listen," because he knows that his dad's not the best listener.
Yeah.
He said, "Dad, listen, you need to listen to me. Tell me on the way." It's not really an on the way conversation. Then Gobbler steals the show with just this great line saying, "You're going to want to handle this one."
Yeah.
And then it's such an emotional scene where Stoic, after 20 years, sees his thought to be deceased wife. And remember, this is the whole reason he's hated dragons with a passion, even more so than the rest. Because he thought his wife was killed by a dragon. He goes there and he's speechless and he says, "Stop being so stoic," and he just says, "You're as beautiful as the day I lost you." Oh, and it brings a tear to your eye. It's so
it really does. Oh, it's great.
Gerard Butler knocked it out of the ballpark with his performances. Much better than his first movie, and his first movie performance is really good.
Yeah, I thought his first movie performance was good. But
It's just, and then later on they have this great sequence, maybe a little sappy, but Gobbler saves us for being sappy when they do the song and with the whistling.
I like it. I like the song a lot.
No, it's fine. I think what's better is that Gobbler has a little bit of comedy in that scene.
Yeah.
That saves it for me.
Still going.
Also, I love the gag that she's a bad cook.
Yeah.
So thing basically, hey, we're all family, we're back together. It's a great thing he didn't listen to me, son, because we never would have met. But then he's still alone here saying, "Look, we gotta stop Drago. Drago's still a threat." Now, here's my problem, okay? Let's talk about Drago real quick and getting us to our huge reveal.
Yeah.
So we see Drago, really intimidating guy. All our Viking kids are captured by him, and basically, now here's my question. Astrid, she kind of spills the beans, saying, she says, in Burke we have like a whole island of dragons, and we're a whole bunch of dragon riders, and she's trying to deter him, I guess, and basically saying, Hiccup's a dragon master, he'll stop you, which she's right.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that bothers me, though, there's one thing that just bothers me.
Yeah.
Drago happens upon our huge dragon Shangri-La island. Now, Astrid didn't know about that. How did he get there?
That's a very
that bothers
good question. Yeah.
Maybe it was on the map somewhere. I don't know. Like that whole icy fortress that was a former lair. That was just attacked. It wasn't the actual place.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. It's a minor. We'll forgive. It's a plot hole we can fill easily.
Oh yeah. Fine. Oh, for sure.
Anyway, so that's my only gripe. The point is, we see how really menacing this guy is, and the really
let's talk about him for just a sec.
Drago's design is really cool. I love the cloak that covers the arm, which it's a great touch. The arm doesn't move because that wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah. I don't necessarily know how much I like the whole plot of like, I hate dragons because they took away my arm, so I'm going to control a whole fleet of dragons.
I thought his motivation was actually really interesting.
Okay, well, tell me about it then.
I think it's interesting that Drago, he lived in fear of dragons. His life, and they took his arm. Another reason to live in fear. But he promised himself. He basically made a vow to himself. I'm going to rise up against this fear. I'm going to make dragons subservient to me. I'm going to be the conqueror of these. I'm going to master these dragons, but out of force, like conquering his fear through force, which is kind of like the Viking way. So it's kind of he is Hiccup's opposite in every way.
Sure.
Which I like that. How he speaks with these. He controls these dragons, but through absolute fear and forcefulness. Because there's a great little visual scene where he basically breaks Snotlog's dragon, the one that lights itself on fire awesomely. He basically steps on the snout, and he like looks it down, and he screams at it. Oh, it's real terrifying.
Oh, it is
And
Scream. I mean, just Jesus.
I
Hell,
love
that
this
Scream
scream.
is.
Again, I
Oh,
think
me
it would have been a
too.
little
Me too.
cooler. I think it would have been cooler if he was a little soft spoken, but then he yelled like that. I think that would
I
have been
agree
cooler.
with that. That would have been straight up terrifying. But
But anyway, so he's all force and fear. I think the idea is that he rised up against that fear and he became the most scary thing around. But
right.
I think that power corrupted him, saying, "Okay, I'm going to use these things to be my own army." And I think basically he used the dragons to conquer other dragons, but then it got out of hand. I'm going to conquer people with these dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I think happened. So
Okay.
I think it's interesting in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, great voice work by Dijman Hunsu, I believe is how you pronounce his
What's
name.
that guy from?
Oh God, he was in Blood Diamond with Leonardo DiCaprio. That's the one thing I know him from. I don't know, but just just really intimidating vocal work.
Oh yeah.
I don't necessarily think he's like the strongest villain, but I think that's just I don't know.
Well, I mean, our last villain was just the giant dragon, so at least we got a.
Oh yeah, he's definitely an improvement for sure.
I don't know. Let me say this. I think it would have been interesting had, again, I kind of keep saying this, but in the ending, an idea I thought it was going for was, well, maybe we should just press on and get to the scene, if I may.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so we see a really cool, menacing guy, this dragon was, and the best bit was when Snotlog's dragon like spit fire at him, and then he used the cloak to deflect the fire, which is so cool.
Oh yeah, right.
And it makes sense because it's dragon skin. It's gonna be tough enough to repel that.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so later on, then there's this huge battle that was sold in the trailer, which I'm glad I was wrong about my worry about the trailer. How I was kind of afraid all the stuff was in the trailer. So there was more to it. So essentially, we got this great battle happening on the dragon Shangri-La, but then essentially during all this great visual stuff, even dragons set themselves on fire and being wheels on fire, which is cool.
Right.
All that cool stuff happening, but I love the Hiccup talking to Drago. Now, the way I thought this scene was going to go, and I like how they kind of, he said Dragon Master. Then he's talking like, so you're the Dragon Master. And basically he talks and he shows him like how dragons took his arm away. And basically saying, I rule these things. I was afraid of them as a child, and basically these things scare me because they took my arm away. But I decided to rise up against that fear. And I thought right there they're kind of saying, we're opposites. That basically saying I'm an opposite of you. The way I thought it was going to go, I thought with that whole speech for a moment before Hiccup said you basically are using these things to conquer people. Before that was made clear, I thought there was a little inkling of maybe Hiccup can reach to this guy because he's also lost a limb.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost a limb, and I'm saying the point is like he was afraid of dragons, and he said I can only rule these things through fear. And I was hoping I saw an inkling of maybe Hiccup could reach this guy in some way, or at least get close to reaching this guy.
Right.
And that was basically as far as it went. But you're right, Tiki. In the grand scheme of things, that's still a good message that you can't reach everybody. And there was
exactly, for sure.
So it took me a second viewing to really wrap my mind around.
I think it's a hard life lesson to learn, but it's definitely one that's valuable.
Yeah, I know. I kind of wish, and don't get me wrong, in the grand scheme, I'm sure he would have rebelled and not gotten it anyway. I'm saying if Hiccup could at least made the distinction clear by the end, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. I'm saying it would have been nice if he kind of reached him in some ways a little bit. Let me say maybe I'm wrong, then attack him out of rage. Like, no, I can't be wrong.
Yeah.
And anyway, so basically, the big part of this scene is he demonstrates his point of ruling through fear and control. He reveals that he's got a huge honking dragon. He's got another bewildebeest that's in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Races it up, a big dragon battle, which startled me by the fact that our evil dragon here killed our huge good dragon. I did not see that coming.
No, this is like the best compliment I could possibly give this movie right now. This whole end scene between the two giant monsters fighting each other, it's exactly what I was hoping that Godzilla would be. It was a straight-up monster movie. It was terrifying. And if you notice, the music cuts out, so it's like literally all you're hearing is just like the wind and the and the roars, and it's spectacular.
I love I love the silence that happens right after
Exactly.
our good Bewilderbeast dies. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my god. Oh, and there's no
No, like
blood.
I totally agree with you that moment where he dies is shocking, absolutely
I
shocking.
I I'm impressed by how much death we get in this film, yet with no blood. I'm impressed by that. Like, you get the impact of it, though.
Oh, we really should talk about freaking Gerard Butler's
I
death.
know.
Oh,
I'm
God.
getting there right now. I'm in there right now. So anyway, so to prove a point, what he does is perhaps we should talk about this because it's a big thing with the ending, along with the death here. Is that now there are two methods of control for these dragons here. The Bewilderbeast, they use their feelers to send out vibrations, kind of like pheromones and stuff, to signal to other dragons that we are the ones in charge of the alpha dragons. Now, our first guy, he commanded through respect. So I guess some people would argue the main plot hole with that, people have pointed out, is that, well, it can't be one or the other. It has to be one. So Toothless is under mind control in this film. Toothless gets under mind control along with our other dragons. However, in the earlier scene, we saw the white one commanded them through respect. So respect versus mind control. So you have two different methods of control. The way I figured was that I argue, why can't it be both? So the Bewilderbeast, I think just the Bewilderbeast specifically have the ability to control with their little feelers, and hence the Bewilder in the title.
Right.
So they cloud dragons' minds, perhaps. But I'm thinking, like, it is the alpha dragon does command through respect, but these Bewilderbeasts have the ability to control, perhaps.
Okay.
And if not, maybe it's like genuinely it's control, but if there are any dragons that aren't subservient, then you're going to control them with that. So maybe it's a little bit of both. That's all I'm going to say on that. But anyway, so it's a heartbreaking scene. Toothless gets mind control. Oh my god, this scared me.
This might possibly be right up there with Mufasa.
Oh, it's better than Mufasa.
You think it's better than Mufasa? Oh,
okay.
Those are fighting words right there. Those are fighting words.
Well, it's more so. Actually, okay, let me rephrase that. Maybe it's not as... I don't know, I love the Shakespeareanness of Mufasa's death, but okay, maybe not.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not a great death. I'm just saying, like comparing it to Mufasa in general is...
Okay, it's an unfair comparison. Let's leave it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get
it's up there, though. It's up there. Like, I don't think it's quite on the level to say, like, oh, yeah, it's absolutely better. But, I mean, it's definitely got potential. Like, I think it's definitely going to be this generation's Mufasa. Like, this generation of kids growing up.
I'll say that, definitely. Okay, anyway, so, great scene. So it's really heartbreaking. It's like, that guy, the glasses, pointed this out much better than I. They said that, essentially, it's like when it's like the horrifying realization that sometimes your pets can turn on you.
Yeah, right. Like Old Yeller status.
Oh yeah. So essentially, Toothless is mind controlled by our huge dragon as a show of like what true power is, and then basically Toothless's eyes go back to the real cat-shaped, mean-looking eyes from the beginning, or from the beginning of the film, in the first movie.
Oh.
And then he's lost all sense. Like we see through his POV, like he doesn't see Hiccup's face. He just sees like a faceless, shadowy figure. It's a really cool POV shot. And then it's so scary, like, oh my god, Toothless is going to attack Hiccup. This is bad. And the thing I love is my heart was racing. Like, Stoic is racing to save his son because he's seen, oh boy, Drago's there. He's going to kill my son. He's running there, and he sees like the dragons in the way, and the dragons on the other dragon's control, and basically Hiccup's saying, Toothless, buddy, snap out of it. Look, snap out of it, buddy. And then Stoic saying, son. And then just the Toothless sums up a big old blast, and then he fires, and then, he says, son, and then Hiccup turns his dad, and then basically pushes Hiccup out of the way. A huge blast goes off. It's like a shot you could hear for miles. Everything goes quiet, if I'm remembering correctly, and then just... They have the ice blocking it smartly. The ice is blocking the wound. The mother realizes that she runs over, they both clear the path, and they get over there, and, like, cradling Stoic. Drago's leaving. He's like smirking, like, somebody died. The point was driven out. Then basically calls the dragon away. So Toothless is now cognitive of what happened. He's kind of he doesn't know what happened. He just says, "Oh well, my master's down. Let's see what's happening there." Unfortunately, oh god, Kate Blanchett's scared of that. Valka, she puts her head to Stoic's chest to hear a heartbeat. There's nothing.
Yeah. Oh.
And then there's the
This is a
realization.
dark ass movie, man. Just the more we talk about it.
The realization that Stoic has died, and oh my, and then Hiccup is like beyond words, and so poor little Toothless, he doesn't know what happened. He was out of it. He's just saying, "Oh, I'm gonna," he sees the hand, he tries to go up against it, and then Hiccup says, "Get out of here! Get out of here!"
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets more heartbreaking than that. Hiccup's mom is saying, dragons aren't bad; they're just trained by bad people.
Right.
And then the showing of that, Asher's there for Hiccup, but then. Oh god! And to add insult to injury, have your own dragon kill you is one thing, but then he breaks Toothless, and he rides off with him.
Yeah,
oh, god.
That's
the Empire Strikes Back of this movie. The movie's been they had the goal in mind to make it kind of feel like Empire Strikes Back, and boys, it succeeded in this scene.
Oh yeah,
it's snowy like Empire.
Right. Oh, that's another thing I want to point out. Just the ice effects in general in this movie are just like they're just straight up photorealistic. It's like I was just watching. I'm just like how is that not live action? How is that not like a photograph? You know what I mean?
But Tiki, grab your tissues and tell your kids, the other kids in the theater, to shut up because this part's really sad.
Yeah.
We then get similar to Thor 2. To be honest with you, we get a Viking funeral. I was so surprised we saw the body under the cloth. Or at least we saw the cloth body.
Oh.
I did not think they were going to go that far. What makes me so sad, brings almost a tear in my eyes, is Gobbler is giving the eulogy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically says, father, the father, a leader, a friend. When he says friend, because he was friends with Stoic, and he's dead.
Yeah, and again, I think just knowing of Gobbler's, of the whole thing that he's gay, I think that just makes that line just that much more poignant. It's like I'm not saying it's a big major part of this character. I'm just saying knowing it kind of brings in some interesting little subtext to some of the moments.
Yeah, Tiki, with that sort of thing, I don't like to kind of read into something that's just kind of a throwaway line, give it that much more gravitas for a moment. It doesn't really need that gravitas.
Well, that's your opinion, man. But
Yeah,
for me, it's like I can take that knowledge that I have of the character and work it to, and I think it makes the character more emotional for me. So, hey, that's just me.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, it's really a heartbreaking eulogy. And Gobbler's so emotionally strong. He's usually a happy, fun guy, but he's really saddened by this.
Right.
His best friend has died, and everyone. I love just the little silent motion of him like handing Hiccup the arrow and then putting his hand on his shoulder.
Oh.
And then they all shoot the arrows, and it's a really somber scene. Basically, the mother gives them a pep talk, and they're kind of coming up with a new plan, saying, "Let's ride the baby dragons." The babies, they don't listen to anybody. Then we're all triumphant, and we're heading to a really scary scene. Using the Bewilderbeast Drago, he steals all the dragons of Berk, which I guess he would know about.
Yeah.
He steals all the dragons of Berk, and then basically it looks like he kills everyone for a moment. Basically blasts them all with ice. Blast the place with ice, and our Vikings, they get there triumphantly, and they're distracting the thing. Fish Lake's a really funny bit where he blows the horn to distract it. They're throwing sheep. Yada, 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 a lot of cool action bits. But then here's the best part. So Hiccup, he reaches out to Toothless, and he says, "Hey, buddy, you wouldn't hurt me. I know you didn't mean to hurt him. It's okay. Okay. I know you're not going to hurt him." Basically, he reaches Toothless despite the fact the giant Bewilderbeast is staring Toothless right in the face with the vibrating, with the vibrating pheromone type thing.
Oh, God.
Control. And he fights it, and then, I love the bit where Drago, then he hits Toothless, but then Toothless grabs on the second hit, and then he throws him off.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. And then Hiccup and him go for a wild ride, and then they finally pull off that maneuver of him flying, catches Drago off guard.
Great payoff.
he kicks Drago. Really, really cool bit. A lot of cool battle in action. But then I should mention the other thing I thought was going to happen at the end. Kind of fitting in with him reaching the bad guy in some way. I thought, and I'm not alone in this, other people have thought this, that he was going to do his dragon magic. Well, not magic, but he was going to reach our huge Bewilderbeast and make him good again.
Sure. Okay. I see.
Well, people thought he was going to do he's swinging the dragon trick on the huge dragon and make him good.
Right.
Which I would have been impressed by equally.
Yeah, for sure.
What we get is fine, but I think that one might have a little more kind of like less fighty reference, less of a fighting ending, more of a.
No, I
It's fine.
agree. I mean, and again, I think that would have kind of tied back to the whole title a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
You can only do so much, and that was a really cool. I think they just wanted to have a really cool action thing at the end, but you can only do so much.
mhm.
But they have a really cool ending because I would say both movies, third acts, they're fine, but it could be like a smidge stronger.
I mean, I thought the last action scene in this movie, though, like especially the big fight between the two alpha dragons, was spectacular. Like, I thought that was one of just the straight-up best action scenes I've seen in any movie, live action or animated, in a long time. I mean, it was just something to behold.
It was a great action scene, but I'm saying it's like the first movie also is like a little more like kind of thought or emotion behind it. The first movie is fine. It's just it's a simple ending. You're fighting the big bad guys. It's a big boss battle.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's it's more creative in terms of action, but it's fine. Point is, Hiccup and Toothless get blasted, but Toothless gets in the super defense mode, and I guess his true energy and he evolves basically.
Yeah, he evolves. Yeah,
he basically has like
a Pokemon at this point.
Well, I don't mean evolves. I mean, like,
it literally is like what an evolved form of a Toothless would be if he was a Pokemon. So I'm sorry I made the Pokemon reference.
Oh, it's more so. I mean, he can go into it in the future, so I'm guessing it's more so Super Saiyan for Toothless.
Oh god.
Basically, Toothless goes Super Saiyan. I guess it's like in self-defense mode of his master. He goes like he brings out the energy from within. And it has like the Godzilla spikes.
Right.
He has like the Godzilla energy all through him, even in his nose, which is a cool visual.
So cool. Yeah.
And then he's like a cornered cat, and he's firing blasts all over the place. He's attacking the big wildebeest. He even knocks off the tusk of one of it. And basically, he becomes the alpha dragon. So yay for Toothless. And then our bad guy kind of drowns with the ship. With this dragon, which again, I don't know. I wish he had a little more of a fitting. Well, like in the grand scheme, nothing would satisfy us more than the death of this guy.
I don't necessarily think that his death is 100%. Confirmed.
You're right. His death isn't 100%.
So let's just leave it at that, and we'll talk about that in the sequel talk.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, this guy did such terrible things. You kind of want him to be murdered in a gruesome way. You want him to be eaten by a dragon, but anyway.
On another side of the same coin, this guy did such terrible things that you want to see what else he could do, and you'd almost want to see him carry on in the third movie.
Fair enough. So, okay, we'll put a pin in that anyway. So,
right. So seriously, we need to wrap this up in like the next 2 minutes.
Okay, I think we can do it. Let me just okay. So again, I guess the so basically Hiccup becomes chief in the end.
I like the whole parallel of Hiccup becoming chief and then Toothless becoming the alpha dragon. I thought that worked really well. Really strong character development on both their ends.
Also, I should mention, Toothless didn't defeat the thing single-handedly. He basically won over all the other dragons and supporting him and attacking him.
Sure, which was really cool.
Which was really cool. Again, the great ending. I love the romantic ending. I love how he kisses Astrid and then Gobbler masks the kid's eyes from it.
Yeah.
Real funny. I love that. The little not old-fashioned romance. And then he becomes chief and he has his ending spiel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Ending spiel.
Also, one thing before you do your spiel. Also, speaking of romance, the other payoff is that she's no longer Rough Nut is no longer interested in Eric, son of Eric, because the other two saved her. She sees them in slow motion; they're all jiggly.
Yeah.
Especially fish legs. And then they're saying, "Oh, princess," and they blow past her into their dragon. So I'm assuming in the third movie she's going to be all over them, perhaps.
God.
Anyway, so our ending is really hopeful, and we see things have been rebuilt. The mother's around to stay, and we got a whole bunch of new dragons, and a lot of ice spires in Burke. So nice architecture.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so things are looking up for How to Train Your Dragon in the future. And overall, I love this movie. Fantastic animation, great story. Again, third act, they could have done different things. What they did was fun, though. It was a really fun movie. Really great sequel. Not sure if it beats Kung Fu Panda 2 as the best DreamWorks sequel, but it's definitely up there.
Tough question. This or the original?
I know, that was the thing I was racking my brains with at the end of this movie. I loved it so much. I think I like it more after the second viewing, getting some stuff sunk in, such as the villain.
Fair enough. I think I still prefer the original, but I might change as well because this movie, it is dense, it's dark, there's a lot going on. So
I love I love Hiccup's change. I love how Hiccup's evolved so much.
Definitely.
It's really tough for me to pick. It's impossible for me to pick. Like right now, I'm gonna say 2, but before the grand scheme of things, I might say 1. I'm not sure. I think I might say 2 though. If I had to pick, I might say 2.
Okay. So, all right. So, should I do my little outro?
So again, more on this in the future with direct ears. In the meantime, yay for DreamWorks, good film. Let's hope their next film is just as good. Okay, take us out, Tiki.
All right. This is the Main Street Cinema. We might not have, like thousands of subscribers or hundreds of views, but we get by. And when we get to talk about really good sequels that feature dragons, all the better. So, just Hollywood, just keep those good franchises flowing and keep those good sequels coming. And Main Street Cinema, they'll be happy. All right. Jay Baruchel.
Because we have dragons.
Yes. All right. Really, really quick, just before we sign out, just because I forgot to actually name drop it. The guy who does the song at the beginning, his name is Jonesy. And he is the lead singer for a really interesting Icelandic band called Sheer Rose. And essentially what Sheer Rose does is they kind of combine Icelandic lyrics with their own sort of style, so it becomes it's really beautiful music. So it's one of the first songs I've heard Jonesy sing in English, so that was really cool. But I digress. I just want to get that little factoid out, or else I'd just regret it. But all right, so yeah, that's it. And like we said, we will be back to talk about potential expansion to the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, and there is definitely a lot of possibilities. So, all right, thank you for joining me, BlueDragonFive.
Anytime.
All right, see you guys later.
Flame sword.
Something cool. You'll
Dragon
get that
wings.
if you see 22 Jump Street. Something cool.
Glide.
All right.